Hey there, guys.
Whoa, we're really
Wow,
super.
we are really spiked.
Hold on, you guys.
We're peaking. We're
Hold-
peaking.
Hold on. Those of you that are listening, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to talk real quiet. We will get you just handled. All right. That's a little bit better. Now I can actually talk at full volume and not completely
Hey
blow out
there,
eardrums.
guys. It is Tammy and Wanda.
Welcome to the Tammy and Wanda Show, everybody.
Did you miss us? We missed you.
We always miss you.
We always miss you. I always want to do Jeffree Stars, hi, how are ya?
We got to do our own thing though, because he's being slammed for being kind of problematic.
I know he's being his good old self again.
So, I know it's about House of the Dragon today, but can we briefly discuss Mascara Gate?
Yes, can we please?
So, we'll get on to House of the Dragon in just a moment, folks. But Mascara Gate, for those of you that are not on TikTok, they had an influencer, and she was doing an ad for L'Oreal, one of their mascaras.
Yes, L'Oreal.
Big Lift, or
I want to say that's what it's called, but I know it's wrong. We'll get the correct one.
We might even put a link to it. We're not paid, but we'll do it.
We're
L'Oreal.
not paid, and I haven't tried it.
Hey, maybe that's one of the next episodes, is maybe we try our favorite mascaras, because we don't get paid, so we're going to tell you the truth. I'm a lot like Jeffree Star, who's somewhat problematic because of his past, but doesn't lie about makeup.
He doesn't. He's very straightforward.
Because he doesn't get paid to do it.
Yeah.
He just loves makeup. So I think that might be really fun for us.
I think that would be too. I think we just brainstormed on the episode.
I know. Episode planning in the episode. What? And we can make it like a 5-part series, one on mascara and one on lipstick, and oh my god, you guys.
We just
send us your favorite products and we'll add them in.
Just moved from a podcast to makeup influencers.
Amazing. I'm sure they won't pay us though, because I usually look like this on the podcast with no makeup, just moisturizer.
I mean, I try.
You always look nicer than I do. It's fine.
I try, but it never succeeds.
I have the I'm tired boss/mom look always, so
Yeah.
I got to be able to do this. So usually if I do wear makeup, it's like mascara and that's it.
Yeah, if I have itchy eyes, I don't like to wear
Well,
eye makeup, because then I just randomly wipe my eye, rub my eye. There we go. I got it. I got spaced. I was totally spaced out for a second.
You rub your eye and well, because whenever you put that kind of makeup on, it's like you put in so much time that the minute you do this, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
There goes that cat eye.
Well, and the Mascara Gate, it was one scene you saw her putting one layer on, and then the next one, it's like she put mini falsies.
You know those kind, and I don't know, for those of you that aren't makeup people, they have 2 different kinds. There's and I had to explain this to my husband whenever all this happened.
Have
the full line, and those of you watching get to see me poking myself in the eye.
She's pokey.
But it goes, basically from your tear duct out to the outside. And then there's the other kind where it's a little bit easier to apply, where you just put a little bit of eyelash glue on it and you just kind of piece it wherever it's thin or wherever you want to put some emphasis.
And really, I watched it. I watched the video, the controversial video, a couple of times. It does look like it. And she doesn't have a lot of eyelashes.
I have some controversial comments on this. First is, I don't care. If you put falsies on and you're lying to me about mascara, it's mascara. It's not some world exploding product. It's mascara, you guys.
It's product placement, and that's what happens. That's just our society in general.
Well, and you want emphasis on your eyes.
Yes.
It does that.
Yes.
Done.
I have naturally long eyelashes. You can't really tell right now, but
we're both blessed with long dark eyelashes. It's amazing.
It's ridiculous when I wear glasses. It's If I don't wear them,
poke too?
oh, they do.
Oh
all
God.
the time. All the time. They're always in my eyesight, and I can never, like, I'm like, okay, get...
Hello?
But when I put a couple of layers on, it looks like I have falsies. But that's
your
mine.
cross to bear.
That is mine. But like,
These
I'm just
women
like,
that
okay.
are getting so butthurt over this. I'm like, do you have a life? Do you have other things going on?
Could you imagine people sitting in front of their big home cameras in the 90s?
Oh my God.
And being scammed over 3 a.m.
with
infomercials.
the VHS tape, whatever. Your dad had to have like shoulder surgery after like a couple Christmases in a row of having that thing on.
Because this is basically our 3 a.m. infomercial.
Well, yeah, and here's the other thing: is this particular creator? What I like about how she handled Mascaragate is she hasn't handled it.
She has it.
She didn't respond, and she's just kind of still doing her thing. And I'm like,
really, I've been waiting for a blowback, but it hasn't happened because, of course, we've said it before, our society feeds on drama.
It's also immediate satisfaction or gratification, and then they're over it.
Yeah.
Like, that was all last week, and then I haven't seen more than 1 or 2 videos on it this week.
I've seen, like, a few people who are just like, okay, I'm gonna try this. And then they're like, oh, wow, it is amazing. I'm not getting paid for this.
And it's like, who cares if you are?
Okay.
Girl, get your cash.
Fine. Like, but that is what it is. Every 3 a.m., and I'm going to go back to it, infomercial, every person that says, wow, since I use this product, it's changed my life.
It's not life-changing. It's mascara. You're right.
Oh,
and
my
you go,
God. But
it's a Celine Dion CD, man.
Yeah.
Or Enya. Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
So it's like
nightmares of sleepovers past.
Oh my God, yes. But like those are all paid actors. Everybody that has some type of product placement, if you do not put some type of disclaimer of saying I am not being I'm not being followed by these people, I'm not being paid by these people, this is my own opinion, kind of like Jeffree Star, who doesn't.
I have 3 questions.
Oh boy.
Number 1, does it bother you that Jeffree is problematic from his past? Because in today's cancel culture type society, I think if we apologize, I think we should be able to move on. Yes. He has apologized. He seemed genuinely a changed human.
100 million times over has he apologized.
And it's like, you can't, I did a lot of really stupid shit in my early 20s. Do I have to continue to pay for those mistakes? And that's kind of the situation. I'm almost 40.
Well, and like one of our former friendships.
Oh, jeez.
Why are we still being, blamed for
Grow
all
up
of
and
that?
Get over it.
If
at least 6 months has gone by and it still bothers you, either resolve it or just get over it. I mean, that's just kind of my deal. Now, not with trauma, but like with small things, because that particular friendship, that was a small deal.
That was a small deal, but to them, it's a major deal.
I'm not trying to discount how people might feel that he was racist against in that situation.
Yes.
That was much bigger of a deal than our personal story. Yes. But at what point, if they are changing, they're trying to make, as they say, reparations for the mistake, when is enough to be forgiven and move on? So
when does cancel culture cancel?
Yes.
It never cancels. It never cancels.
Second question, just to kind of bring it back into today's episode topic, is do you think that Emilia Clarke as Daenerys Targaryen was paid to have that coffee cup on the table in season 8 that was much talked about? Was that product placement?
Ooh.
Or not?
I mean, there have been many, many movies that I have watched that, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
The oldie but goodie ones. The live action ones, guys. That just shows how old I am because I actually saw them in theaters in 1989.
And if you didn't, you weren't the cool kids.
But their product placement was Domino's and Burger King.
Mm-hmm.
And they had
paid
them
a lot.
in the film.
Yes.
So a lot of films that you watch, and now you guys are all going to be mind blown. You guys are going to go back and watch some of your old movies, and you're going to see like Burger King.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see McDonald's. You're going to see Pizza Hut.
TV shows like
Domino's.
Friends have to pay for if they have like, I know I have a glass of water in front of me, but if this was like a Coca-Cola can, they either have to cover it up,
yes,
or they pay for licensing to have that Coca-Cola can in the episode.
Yeah.
Now, bringing it full circle to House of the Dragon, if Jeffree Star was a Targaryen,
Oh God.
or similar to a Targaryen we know and love in House of the Dragon, do you think he would fit into that family? And if so, who is he the most like?
Well, he's a shit stirrer. So
I think him and Daemon would have been like twins.
Oh my God, you read my mind.
Because it's like, and I don't think Daemon would have cared that he would be in the makeup.
They would have been the best of cousins.
Yes.
And I feel like if just by Daemon's silent, like, I'm judging you, here comes his hype man.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Targaryen.
I swear to God, I think we should send a snippet of this.
No, thank you.
To Jeffrey and see if he agrees that he would have been like Daemon's like right-hand man.
Oh, he would be, if you've ever seen Key and Peele.
Yeah, I have.
Where it's Obama's angry side.
Yes.
That would be Jeffree Star.
Yes,
David.
it would. And he'd be like, ugh, Alicent Hightower, girl.
Because like with Daemon, he's not going to say anything, but that he has just eye contact, gave you the most snarkiest remark.
I love it.
Just stare or cut your head in half.
And he would have been like up there with Daemon going, look at it, King Viserys, and going, just let him marry your daughter. Girl, that would solve so many problems. It is right in front of you. Yeah. The answer is clear.
The answer is perfectly clear. Just get it done and out of the way.
I would love to see his reaction if he was a Targaryen to the Alicent Hightower feet scandal we discussed last episode.
Oh, good Lord.
Can you imagine him finding out about that creepy man?
Oh, my God. He would want to cancel him like that.
Oh, my God. Waving around a mirror. Girl, look at yourself. This is what you resorted to. The first original OnlyFans with feet.
Like, what we talked about off screen and off the podcast was she basically did everything that she was against.
Yeah. She turned into her worst nightmare.
Yeah, she literally turned into her father because
Otto Hightower.
She hated the fact that they had that inter-family relationships, and she hated anything that was Targaryen culture. Yeah. And then it's like once she got married into it, then all of a sudden it was like,
daughter, marry son. You're like, what?
Here you go, guys. This is your...
So nephew and niece was gross to her before the marriage, but her own two children marrying each other is not gross?
Yeah, like the uncle and niece thing, she was just like, oh my God, no, that's horrible. That's disgusting.
Targaryen.
No, you need to marry your distant cousin. That is much better for
your
us.
second cousin is far less gross than your uncle.
But then it's like... What?
No, I have to ask you. I feel like there's a producer I'm specifically angry with, and I don't care. Okay. If she knows I'm mad at her, because she can kiss my fucking ass, and that's how I feel. This bitch literally said that she took out a lot of the scenes of Daemon being sweet in season 1 because she was so sick of hearing those of us that like the morally gray characters. I know you and I both have that in common. We like a deep morally gray, like they're right but they're wrong kind of person. Yes. Kind of like Daemon. He's like textbook shades of gray kind of guy. And no, I don't mean 50 Shades of Grey. That guy was bullshit. But, yes. That's a whole nother rant episode. That's a grind my gears.
Yep.
Why we hate 50 Shades. But, in all seriousness, they took that out because she was so angry and like almost like she thinks he should be evil. And I think it does a disservice to the story and to his love affair with Rhaenyra and his love for his daughters and his, adopted children.
Like, it's not. Like, he's not... He is vindictive.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'll give you that.
I'm going to win the war so I don't get my brother's help side of him. Yes, I see it.
That was great because you know what? I've done that. I'm like, I feel you, David. I feel you.
Yeah.
Because I have been told through my life, like, oh, well, we're just going to come and help you.
No, you're not.
No.
No, you're not.
And no.
In what
and you're
universe?
Done.
In what universe are we talking about, darlings? Absolutely
I just end up doing it myself. And then when they come and they're just like, oh, you got it all done. Yeah, I did.
Now, I have to tell you, I loved both Rhaenyra's pre-jump of time and post-jump of time. Excuse me.
Yes.
The older one, I think, lends a very serious adult, like,
she was very mature.
To her. It was nice to see.
Mature for her age. Yes, I totally agree with that.
And also, her dad could have married her off to the guy who is the actual father to her children, had the opportunity, laughed it off. Could have married her off to his brother, which would have been the ultimate Targaryen dynasty, and they both wanted that because you could see the chemistry.
Yes,
even the young one.
When he took her to the brothel.
Oh, that was a weird scene.
That was, I don't know. I was like,
are they gonna do it? Oh my god, he won't even. He's
I'm like,
her.
I can't look away. This is like a car crash that I can't look away from.
And then I felt myself yelling at the screen, and my poor husband has to deal with all of my like live reactions to things. So he got why the fuck are you leaving her in the brothel? Where the hell are you going, you butthead?
I know.
It was bad.
Like, watching it, and I almost want to go back and rewatch it, just because I've done that with GOT so many times.
You almost have to just to catch all the little things in between.
Because there are some things that you miss, and you're just like, oh my god. Because like with Game of Thrones, I had started it, and like when it first came out, and I was so obsessed with it, and that my best friend, he had never seen it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, well, guess what? Santa was very nice to me and got me like all the seasons that we're currently in. So
we gonna watch them, get you caught up.
We gonna watch them, and then he became obsessed with it.
It's hard not to because it's almost like for those of us that love fantasy stories, it just like throws you into their universe, and then you're just like there, just trying to absorb everything.
Well, like I've said it so many years, I would have loved. I think I love the romantic side of that era, like the medieval and Renaissance and all those centuries. I don't like the politics then. I don't like the hygiene then.
Knowing that they had to wear like petticoats to catch the feminine issue every month.
Yes, or
instead of having products.
You know, before they invented detergent, they would use their own pee.
Oh my god, seriously?
Yes, because it had ammonia. Since there's ammonia in your urine, they would...
Do you use a lot? Do you bathe kind of like tits and ass style? How does that work?
Well, laundry detergent. So they did their laundry in their own urine.
So it just smelled like pee and BO.
Yes, exactly. So that's the one thing. That's why I said I like the romantic side of it.
Also, what did they wipe their ass with? Was it leaves? Was it old scrap pieces of like...
It was probably cloth. Who knows? I don't know.
That old dress doesn't fit me anymore and it has holes in it. We're going to rip it up and use it as TP.
I'm just going to use it as cottonelle now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but that's why, like, I love fantasy because of that. And then it's like, and I'm one of those people, and I know there's a lot of people out there, when you get fixated on a series, or like, whether it be book, whether it be show, movie, you deep dive. you go down the furthest rabbit hole.
Reddit. For me, you ask one question on Reddit or Quora.com, and then you have like everybody's comments, and you're like, no, that's not right. Or I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point. And you're like
with any show that I have watched that has had some type of like, if it says it's based on a true story, your girl, this bitch right here,
she gonna find that true story.
She gonna be Googling it. And reading every single fucking article that is out there.
And Wanda will be sending Tammy every TikTok about the true story that exists.
This is the real story.
Although I caught you off guard with the murder story just last week.
You did. That caught me off guard.
Where the daughter marries the biological dad, and then they have a baby together, and then because the adoptive parents get her back after they get out of prison for incest, he kills their baby. And then I think he killed her. And
kills her and the adoptive dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Why? I don't know. That sounds like they should have lived in the Game of Thrones House of Dragon universe.
Yes.
Like they could have been there.
Or West Virginia. Sorry, West Virginians.
You know, I wonder how much of that is actually, because isn't George R.R. Martin, is he British or is he like American? I don't remember that.
I don't remember. We're going to Google that.
That'll be on the page later.
That'll be on the research later.
But I know that the original Game of Thrones story was based on the War of the Roses.
Yes.
So you figure...
So I deep dived into that.
Yeah. Which is actually a really interesting story.
It is very interesting.
Highly recommend. That's my favorite part of history, but...
Literally, like, my whole YouTube is covered in... Royals recreated, so someone actually recreates like the way that they would possibly look in now times.
I love those.
It is amazing.
Mary Magdalene was my favorite. Where it's like she's like got a light like brown skin and she's got like all the jewelry and the henna.
They give you a backstory. And then I also watch a lot of weird history. That's how I found the urine.
Yes.
Urine one.
I like drunk history. That's one of my favorites.
I love drunk history. I would love to do drunk history at one point in my life. I think that would be something else.
That'd be a fun episode.
That maybe, my fellow listeners, is probably just going to be a visual one. All right? We might be able to pull off the podcast. Possibly.
It could be 15 minutes. It could be 5 hours.
But you may have a lot more fun watching us on YouTube.
On that one, yes.
Click the like button. Wherever it is on the video. So you can see what our newest video is going to be.
What do you think people like the Targaryens would have thought about YouTube? And learning things on video.
Ye old YouTube.
YouTube.
I feel like their reign would have been immediate cancel culture.
Yeah.
I feel like there would be a bigger uprise.
Yeah.
If media was involved.
Also, you look at today's royal family.
It's like, and media back then was town criers and everybody believed town criers.
And you could lie.
You could lie.
They can't lie now. Like, it's really hard to hide, like, a Prince Andrew situation.
Now,
you can't.
Now that everybody has a phone that's surgically in their hand.
Yes.
That
you can't get away from scandal, but they could hide scandal or, like, murder the person responsible for said scandal. And nobody cared. They were just gone now.
Yeah.
And
you could murder them and no one would ever know.
Yes, and the toxicity of that culture versus ours is like heaven compared to some of the shit that went on back then.
Yeah.
Or even in this fantasy realm of, you know, I'm gonna send, you know, an envoy to tell you that your brother has stolen your crown.
Or the second to last, or the last episode of the season.
Oh my god.
Where the one guy...
I have chills.
Where the one guy on the council is just like, listen, that is not what Viserys would have said. He was all about Rhaenyra being queen, so there is no way that Aegon was going to be king. And fucking whatever
Kristen Cole
fucking bashes his head in. Like, just
into the
Sit
table.
down, like with those orbs. That's probably why they don't have those spheres at the council table anymore.
Yeah. They learned that by the 200 years later.
But no one freaked out because how are they gonna know?
And the only one that was allowed to say anything that resembled the now deceased sitting at that same table still was the Queen. And that is one of the very few times I actually liked Alicent Hightower is she slams her hands on the table and she's like, this is not what he wanted. He does not want us to murder his only daughter. Or his first child, because I guess Helena is a daughter too. I always forget about her.
But it's like everyone during that council is just like, we have to get rid of her because she's gonna do an uprise because you are the only one in this room that heard him say that he wants Aegon to be king.
And she like very much, I think in that moment realizes, oh, I fucked up about lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And she realizes, oh my God, I don't want my previous best friend to die. And oh my God, we could have been friends this whole time. And I could have protected her. And oh my God. And you see all of it go across her face.
Yep.
Olivia Cooke, who plays her, chef's kiss. Amazing actress. Because you felt everything with her. The anger, the frustration, the, oh my God, my dad's evil. And he's why I'm where I am right now.
I really wish I was drinking any Negroni.
Spagliato. With Prosecco in it.
With Prosecco.
By the way, when that video came out of Elder Rhaenyra and Olivia Cooke, because I can't for the life of me remember their name that plays Rhaenyra, but what is it? We'll think of it after the podcast. We usually do.
It usually happens that way.
They go by they, them, and for just a hot second, as a morbidly straight person, I questioned my sexuality during that video. When they're like, Negroni Spagliato with Prosecco. I was like, am I straight or do I like them?
Right?
They are attractive.
But just knowing that there is like, nowadays you could get out of a lie because everyone would call you out on it.
Which, Mascaragate.
Yes.
From the beginning of the episode.
As opposed to the time frame that they are portraying.
Or the real father of Rhaenyra's first 3 children. In my favorite scene of the whole season. And I'm
that
sorry.
That shit would have been on Mari, Jerry Springer, a hot minute.
You say what you want about Daemon. If he's in your circle, he is in your circle, which I think I believe about Jeffree Star as well. If he's in your circle, he's in your circle.
He will protect you for life.
So this guy is like the uncle of Rhaenyra's now deceased husband who has claimed these boys as his own.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so nobody believes, and there's a whole lot of problems I have here where...
Oh, that was like that was like third to last episode?
Yeah, I think so. Episode 8.
That was glorious.
I'm going to tell you, so apparently the Valyrian, the queen that never was, that married into the Valyrians, was a brunette because her mother was a Baratheon. Mm-hmm. Tying it back to Game of Thrones, you guys, Robert Baratheon, his distant relatives were her distant relatives. So she was a brunette, not blonde, like on the show. Uh-huh. And so genetically speaking, it wasn't quite as obvious in the book as it is on the show that they don't belong to Rhaenys' son, Laenor.
Yeah.
And so...
They have white hair. She has white hair.
Hello. So Rhaenys, her brother-in-law, shows up to court and is like, she's a whore and those are bastards.
Oh, Daemon, say it.
Daemon goes,
I dare you.
The king stands up and he's like decrepit and about to like die, okay?
Yeah.
He stands up and he goes, I'll have your tongue for that. And David goes, he can keep his tongue. And you look up and the guy's head slides off and his tongue is still attached.
Yeah, he can keep his tongue.
I almost barfed, but it was like the funniest thing. I had to like watch it 3 or 4 times because you're right. Damon's like, say it.
Say it.
Say it.
Go ahead.
And he's got his hand like on his sword.
He's ready.
Say it.
Because he knows.
He just goes, whoop, Valyrian steel. Uh-huh. That was Dark Sister, baby. Action. In action.
Amazing. But yeah, like, is anyone going to speak up? I'm sure there was multiple medieval Karens.
And he was speaking the truth.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part of it is, well, she wasn't a whore, but like...
She wasn't.
They were bastards.
They were bastards, but
she's also the heir, right? So, like, does it matter if they're bastards? I mean, I know it did then, but
I mean, she could...
In the grand scheme of everything?
I mean, she's the one who runs the law.
And this is why if he would have just married her off to Daemon in the first place, they would have just been Targaryens, and it wouldn't have mattered if they were Harwin Strong's kids or not.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it makes my head just numb.
It's crazy. The turmoil and stress. Because you have to think about it. Rhaenyra is like, okay, so I'm gonna marry like my second cousin. Well, I know he swings the other way.
He's nice to me, and we tried to have a baby the natural way, and this was the only way we could get around it. And he signed off on this.
He did.
The husband was like, whatever you need to do to pop out some babies, I'll say they're mine.
I mean, they're standing down at the ocean going, you know you need to get married. I need to get married. How about we do this and just, if we bring lovers home.
Whatever. Just don't make it public.
You're home or you're gone and,
You're traveling and I'm home.
It just shows how much of a matriarch she is and knows people and how much she watches because no one else had the fucking clue that he liked buttholes.
And you know what's really crazy to me?
He liked to protect other men's ass.
Rhaenyra Targaryen is the first gay ally that we know of.
Yeah.
At least in fantasy.
Fantasy, yes.
Okay, so she didn't give a fuck that that's who he liked. She didn't care.
No.
She's like, okay, just say they're yours. And he's like, cool, rad. What's
We
new?
both have duties. Let's just do this. Get it done out of the way. And
they were like great friends.
Yeah.
So what really makes me laugh, though, about all of this is, say what you will about Martin not finishing Winds of Winter. Say what you want about how he goes about interviews and does things, okay? I don't agree with some of it. We're going to leave that for another Grind My Gears episode about him specifically. But the one thing he has always said, and if you look at it through time, both with House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, there are a lot of very powerful female characters.
There are.
And someone asked him, because that's not common in the genre of fantasy. Usually you've got your Aragorn and your Frodo, and you're like, where's Arwen? She's badass.
Yeah.
Why is she not up there? Why is the Princess of Rohan, whose name I forget right now, why is she not up there? She was fighting as a man in all those battles on a horse. Yeah. Why is she not one of the things? And that's just, I think, the sign of the times when Lord of the Rings came out and the fact that it's like predominantly Christian based.
Yeah. And it was more of his journey.
It was Frodo's journey.
Well, it was Tolkien's journey with being at war.
Yeah.
So it was
different.
It was his coping mechanism for him experiencing war.
Now, I won't tell you that Lord of the Rings is bad, because I will never say that, because I love very much the Lord of the Rings
I am an
franchise.
LOTR fan for life.
We both are. And it's just who we are. Aowen's her name. Because it was almost my name. Thanks, Dad. But Mom was like, pump the hate brakes there, please. No thanks.
I'm kind of happy about that, yeah.
That would have been weird.
That would have been
weird. What would the nickname be? Woey? I don't know. We're not going to go there. So.
Ari.
I know. George R.R. Martin has always said, they're like, why do you write such strong female characters? And he's like, I was always under the assumption women were people.
Yeah.
And I know I'm paraphrasing. He says it way better than that. But, I was under the assumption they're also people. So he just treats them like any other character, which is really fucking rad. And you look at that in both Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Those are the only two sitting queens they have throughout his entire history.
Yeah.
He wrote out a whole book of all their history, how they're all related. And, as much as some people wanted Daenerys to be queen at the end, I'm sorry, she was never going to be queen. That bitch was batshit crazy from day one. Just like her dad, the Mad King. Fight me.
She would have been, she was the Mad Queen.
Yeah, fight me. She was always kind of a crazy bitch.
It was in her DNA.
That bitch stood out there on fire like this after she killed like hundreds of people and horse lords and their followers and their queens and stuff. and was like, follow me, blah, 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 blah. Which is cool and all, and it was really fun to watch as a woman. But then, like, you're like, yeah, but she just killed
But it's
a
like
shit ton of people.
the further on her arc went,
mass genocide everywhere she went.
Yeah, it was. She wasn't changing anything, and that is why.
In fact, she left Marine, I think, worse than when she found it.
Yeah, because basically what happened was after she left and like freed all the people, like they were just like, I kind of miss the old way. And they all went back to the old way. Like, she didn't do anything. Because that's what she found out in season 8. Like, she was like, I freed all of these people. And, like Tyrion is like, yeah, no.
Well, and all you have to do is look at her interaction with Sansa.
Yeah.
Another powerful female figure. And she's like, I came and I helped you. And I'm responsible for why, you know, we won against, you know, the Night King and his minions. And she's like, actually, it's because I called the Knights from the Vale. But cool. Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
They're both not wrong. That's the thing. But Sansa wasn't trying to win the pissing contest, as it were.
No.
She was just like, you got to give credit where credit's due. And, you know, watching her go, not worry about the people being able to eat. And Sansa's like, the dragons are eating everybody's food. Like, what are we going to do to eat? And she's like, well, the dragons need to eat. And she was like, my people need to eat. And that whole thing shows you everything you need to know.
Yes, and that shows you. But what is crazy is that if you think about it, Daenerys did not have the type of training and living in a way of thinking diplomatically where Sansa grew up with Eddard Stark.
Well, and she learned from Cersei, who was the only other one that made it to the Iron Throne.
Who, you know, like, she was surrounded by what is expected.
Well, and how to get diplomacy, whether it's backhanded or not.
Yes.
Because Cersei's was backhanded.
Like, with Eddard, with Ed, it was straightforward, clean cut. And then she saw the dirty
I'm going
side.
to arrest you tomorrow, Cersei, because your kids are bastards. I just wanted to warn you, because he's a good dude, and then he gets beheaded because he was nice.
So she's seen the clean cut version, and then she saw the behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So she had a lot of that. Where Daenerys, she had a crazy brother who beat the shit out of her all the time.
And threatened to rape her if she didn't do it. Yeah. Like, it was not
so
a good situation.
she had so much Stockholm syndrome and being on the run for being a Targaryen because it was embedded into her mind that we're gonna take this throne back. We're gonna go back to the old ways. So she just, like, I feel like all of her wirings were completely crossed because she didn't have the proper guidance.
Now, and you got to look at, too, so both Rhaenyra and Cersei, the two queens that did make it to the throne, albeit briefly for Rhaenyra, but, sorry, that was a spoiler. It's going to be brief. Sorry about that.
Yes.
I'm not going to give you circumstances or any of the spoilers, but it'll be brief. But Cersei's was also brief. I think it was
very brief, yes.
Yeah. So, the whole point is, those two both had fathers who took the time, who were patient and calculated, and had a good and a bad side to them. And they were both kind of natural rulers. Say what you want about Viserys, he was kind of a pussy when it came to, you know, his family, but like when it came to matters of state, he wasn't a bad king. He
was very diplomatic, but it's like and I agree with his family, it was
big baby.
I
don't know what to do. My daughter should be queen, but now I have a son.
I just want my family to have dinner together without fighting.
But Cersei's dad...
And I'm tired of losing limbs.
Yeah, they both fucking groomed their daughters to become the queen.
What they needed to be.
Tywin Lannister very much thought that Cersei was going to be Rhaegar Targaryen's wife. Maybe even after Elia or before Elia. And then all that stuff with Lyanna Stark happened, and then it was like down the shitter. But like, she grew up believing she was going to be queen someday. So they've both been groomed that they're going to be the leader of this whole entire like country.
And there's that nature versus nurture, guys.
Yes. We get back to it all the time.
Full circle.
So it shows in this case, at least, that it's a strong case for nurture.
Yes.
In all three of those powerful women's case.
Yeah.
Even Sansa.
Well, and with Daenerys, like, for her, it was a lot of nature and nurture. Because genetically...
I believe that was Sansa, too.
Yeah. Like, nature-wise, she was genetically doomed.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, she was very, very young when her father was Mad King.
Well, I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure that when Rhaegar was getting murdered at the Trident is when she was born on Dragonstone.
Oh, okay.
To Rhaella Targaryen, who was married to the Mad King. And then there was some time between Rhaegar dying at the Trident and them overthrowing the Mad King. I don't know how long. It might have been just like a year or two, but she was still very small when they had to go on the run.
Like, she didn't have...
No formal training.
Yeah, like, she didn't have any, like, visual...
And honestly, it shows that sometimes nature does overcome nurture, because Jorah Mormont was a very good, and she even had Barristan Selmy for a while. They were both very good with teaching her, well, here's what the Westerosi people believe, here's what they're going to expect when you hit the throne. They're trying to show her the correct way about things when she gets here, and she's like, fuck them, I'm going to break the wheel, I'm going to go in, I'm going to blow everybody the fuck up, and then they're going to be so scared of me that they have to serve me. And it's like, that's not... that doesn't work for Cersei.
That wasn't in the work that I gave you.
And they all know the story that we're watching in House of the Dragon with Rhaenyra, and how her story ends.
And, I mean...
They didn't learn anything from that. Her and Cersei both fucked up, and the only person that seemed to learn that lesson is Sansa.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 big queens in the whole story.
See, and that's where it shows that nature-wise, she had 2 very wise parents.
Yeah.
So, because, I mean, there were times where they had, like, arguments and both parents are just like, look at the other side.
But they were fair with each other.
Yes.
And that's the thing, is you have to, whenever you're in a long-term relationship, you have to talk everything out to have a healthy one.
Yes.
And then your kids learn that. And she had so many unhealthy people in her life, Sansa, with Peter Baelish and Ramsay Bolton, which that didn't happen in the books. So fight me, that was fucked up and shouldn't have been included.
Oh, how dare you guys.
Jane Poole, which was her childhood friend that you see briefly in that first episode.
Yeah. She's the one who went through
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they lied and said it was Arya Stark. Because the Lannister family didn't want to admit that they lost Arya. So they said, this is Arya grown up. Here you go. Here she is. Ta-da! But in any case, so we're a big fan, and I think it's cool that we have a fantasy author that very much values or sees the value in a woman and what she can bring to the table.
And really, I do like that he has value for his product, where a lot of people are just like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want with it.
He gets mad when it's not done right. And we will someday go on and grind my gears about season 8. I don't have enough time or energy to even get into that right now.
Yeah,
but
I don't have it in me today.
He wanted 10 seasons. He wanted them all to be at least 45-minute episodes. He wanted to be able to be as in-depth. He was very involved in seasons 1 through 4.
Yes.
And you could see where his involvement stopped.
Yes.
And he's even said he wishes he would have taken the time to stay on.
Well, you could tell.
Keep it.
You like it. Yes, it's. This will be another episode, but yeah, you could definitely tell that they just put shit to the wind.
And he's a lot more involved with House of the Dragon. He learned the lesson.
And see what would stick.
Yeah, yes. and it's so good. It's reminiscent of those first 4 seasons, and you go.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like when it's over, you're just like, I need more.
The only sad thing to me was, I both thought it was sad as a mother, but also as like a semi liberal feminist that I am, watching Rhaenyra get the news that her son just died, sending him on a peace mission, and that her little half brother's, responsible for it, was watching her turn after she lost her baby and her dad in the same day, and then, a few days later she loses her kid.
Yep.
And she wasn't going to be mean, and she turns and you see that look, and you're like.
She wanted to do this the diplomatic way, but they showed their cards first.
Oh, fuck.
So guess what?
And then
it's off the
Otto
table.
shows up, and that whole scene kills me when he's like, you need to give up. You don't need a queen's guard. You're not going to be queen. You know, Aegon's going to take your crown, and you need to bend the knee, and I'm here in his stead. And Daemon was like, and then you see her fucking dragon Syraxes come in from the sky, and he looks up, and you know that song on TikTok, "That's my girl." You just hear that in your head as she like flies over and she lands, and she's like, "What do you want?" It's queen energy. It's so badass.
It's so queen energy. But yeah, like just.
I can't wait to do the season 2 analysis because I don't know how much of it they're going to cover.
But it very funny watching Aemon's face when he didn't have control of Vhagar.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I was watching it, and of course I was watching it at work, and I was like yelling.
We work in a place where people aren't fazed by our loudness down the hall.
I'm just like, are you kidding me? You thought that you had control of Vhagar. Well, guess what? You don't.
You're done.
You're done. And it's like when that all happened, you just saw his face go, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah. And you could tell he didn't actually want to like hurt his cousin.
He wanted to scare him as much because his nephew.
Yeah. Well, you know, Targaryen cousin, nephew. I don't know.
Cousin.
It's whatever.
My brot's my uncle. I don't know.
But you're right though. I think he was like, oh, this was just supposed to intimidate him. What the fuck?
Yeah, but it's like both of them could not control animals that had animalistic nature to fight off. And
you can't control a dragon. They have that conversation in the very first episode of the season with Viserys and Rhaenyra when they're down in the dragon pit. He's telling her the secret, the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yes.
And that whole thing, and the prince that was promised, he's like, you can't control a dragon. That's the lesson. And then you see that happen, and he's like, oh my god.
Oh.
They never find the body. Spoiler alert. He's just dead. There it is.
Fun fact. Because I was reading something. It was like 3 days later, and they found the head of his dragon.
Yeah.
And that's what...
That's it, though.
That was it.
That's how they knew he was dead.
Yeah.
That's it.
They found pieces of his dragon, and I felt really sad. I actually cried. I knew it was going to happen, but I was really sad because I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. He did exactly what he was told to do. Aegon was like, or Aemond was like, let's fight. Let's fight.
I can't wait for hashtag Revenge Rhaenyra in season 2.
Oh, it's gonna be badass.
I am so stoked. And then Daemon's gonna be like Team Revenge Rhaenyra with her, and he's gonna be like, "Whoa, kill everybody!" And it's gonna be like the Crab Man all over again.
Oh yeah, that Crab Man, which he had dragon scale.
Yeah.
And became mad. And I was watching a video like with her baby being born. Because I didn't read the books, as we know from the
previous
episode. So the baby was born with dragon scale, right?
Well,
or partial dragon scale.
The lore behind the babies being born that way, because if you remember, Daenerys and Khal Drogo's baby was also born that way.
Yes.
Is the price for the birth of because everybody believes it's the Khal's burning that is the reason why the dragon eggs hatch. That's actually not right.
Okay.
It's that her human baby dies to give life to her dragon baby. So if you notice that her dragon Syraxes had also just given birth. Yes. And so Rhaenyra's baby had to die in order for the baby dragon to be able to be born.
Yes, that's scene,
the deal.
That scene was...
The dragon was upset.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great.
It was phenomenal. Just how much connections, and it kind of feeds my love for Avatar.
Oh yeah.
How there is such a physical and spiritual connection to something that imprints to you.
Another living being, if it were, but
yeah.
It's amazing to me that they have that connection, but that's kind of Martin's take on all of that, is that every couple of kids, I think even Rhaenyra's mom,
She lost a
Emma
few.
had one that was like that too. And then right after was Rhaenyra's birth, and her and Syraxes, I always say that wrong. They were fine as a result of that dragon baby that came out. So I don't know if that's just dragon scale and how it looks,
Yeah.
or if it really is that Valyrian curse.
That's pretty insane, and it makes a lot of sense.
And then when you look back and you go, oh, that's what happened with Daenerys. She lost Rhaego, and then these 3 dragon eggs hatched. Like what, a couple weeks later?
Yeah, a couple of when she set the hut
The
ablaze.
funeral pyre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she just sat in there.
That was crazy. So, you guys, next week, we will see you for another episode of the Tammy and Wanda Show.
Yep.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.